Hi, everyone. I'm here with some amazing people today to talk about a really meaningful topic love. Specifically, we'll be exploring what it would mean to center love as an organizing principle, how love, as Bell Hook defines it, with care, commitment, knowledge, responsibility, respect, and trust, could guide the way we interact and build our world. Before we start, I just want to thank the 5 people who were brave enough to tackle this complex question. So let's dive in, starting with the question: what is radical love? One of the most important and influential thinkers in this past century, Bell Hooks, defined love as care, commitment, knowledge, responsibility, respect, and trust. She defined radical love as loving people whether or not we believe they deserve love. Given that definition, I asked 5 of my family members around our Thanksgiving dinner table this year what it would look like if we centered love as an organizing principle. Starting with Linda, who said,
Hi, this is Linda. I read the question, and it's a hard one to answer, having been born in the Woodstock hippie generation where free love was rampant. I think now, looking back, it wasn't really the love that you're asking the answers to, because quite honestly, if that love existed purely to guide the world, I wouldn't have grown up with discrimination. I wouldn't have grown up with parents that gave you such requirements and restrictions and fear. You were raised in fear. So to me, having love as a center would mean that we would see the end to the things that we were raised with. We'd see the end to discrimination. We'd see the end of hatred. We'd see people more compassionate. We'd see people helping other people. Poverty wouldn't exist. Social systems wouldn't have the burden it does have in our community, in our world today, because when you love is also sharing. And when you share, whether you're poor, rich, or in the middle class, you always, if you love, help your fellow man out. So in reality, politics wouldn't be as crazy as we see. There wouldn't be party Democrats, Republican, Independents, because there'd be no need to have that type of difference, because love would guide us to make the decisions that are right for all of us at the same time. Would that happen in our world? I doubt it, because people are still raised with prejudices, and they're still raised with misconception, and they're still raised with the holy dollar being the guiding force to bring them forward, not love. But you asked what love would do to the world. It would make it a different world that we live in today. And I hope that happens in the future. But I'm 76, and having gone all through what I have gone through, I'd love to say to you, please bring love back. Please bring family units back. Teach people what it's like to be a person that's kind, compassionate, patient, and giving. Thank you for the opportunity to share this with you.
Next, I spoke with John, who said,
Well, this is a loaded question, in my opinion, because it sounds great in theory, but reality is not the case with this. I would love it if everyone treated everyone with respect and respected people as a whole, as far as mankind goes, but that's not the way it works. I've dealt in my experience with friends and family and customers and people that are down on their luck. I've given when I had nothing to give. I would give, and it just doesn't seem like a feasible scenario to me ever. It'd be great, yes, if the world everyone loved, there was no racism, no hate. I love people in general, but I can generally hate a person. That's just the way I am. That might not sound good, and I hope all you scholars and kids that are going to school can change that about the world. But I just don't see it happening. I'm kind of a cynic when it comes to something like that.
Next, I spoke with Danielle, who said,
Hi, this is Danielle. And to answer the question, I think it would be incredible to live in a world that's full of love. There's so much racism and hate in our world today that it's sometimes scary to walk out the door. And I grew up with racist parents, and when I got pregnant with my own children, that was my first objective, to make sure that they didn't see color or disability, that they just loved everybody, or gave everybody the same chance, whether what color their skin was or what they looked like. Everybody was equal. It would be great to not be judged by people or talked about, and so living in a world of just love would be incredible, I feel.
Next, I spoke with Landon, who said,
Hi, I'm Landon, and I believe if everything was run by love, countries would become so filled with like patriotism. Everyone would want to try and spread their culture into all sorts of different places, creating conflicts, saying one country is better than the other and you should follow the way that I do my culture here. It's just going to create a bunch of conflicts, and that could be one big downside if everything was run on love. Everyone would just start fighting over whose love is the best.
and finally, I spoke with Michael, who said,
If radical love was the most important rule to live by, I think the world would ultimately be a better place. Now, that might sound a little obvious and cliche, but it really is that simple, I think. For example, I worked at a company where I was essentially treated not as a human being, but as merely a means to an end. With hardly any identity or concern for myself. Whereas with my new job, it's been the exact opposite. I've made some important friendships and connections, and I am much less stressed and worried about life today than I was before. And I get to work with people from various different cultures that are so utterly different from the Western world. An example that I can give is in Japan, where children usually live at home even after graduating college, to help them build a sturdy financial base for themselves. Whereas here, such actions are generally discouraged as an affront to individualism.
I just want to say another thank you to everyone who was brave enough to share their thoughts and experiences. It was an incredible experience to hear so many unique perspectives on what it would mean to center love as an organizing principle. This conversation has really shown how radical love can shape relationships, communities, and even policies. I hope this conversation has inspired others to think about how radical love can guide us in moving forward in this world. Thanks again to everyone who participated, and thank you all for watching.